Hi, I'm Emily and I'm the founder of Two Shoes Creative. We specialise in building brands for purpose-led businesses, impact startups and charities. Now, did you know it just takes 1/10 of a second for someone to make a judgment on you? Yeah, that's right, 1/10 of a second. This stat comes from research from Princeton, where they concluded that our brain makes snap decisions based on our past experiences and feelings. It's something we're not in control of, it just happens. But what has that got to do with business? Well, we need to make sure that we have a strong brand visual identity, so those snap judgments that people are making about us are actually true. First impressions, as unfair as they might be, count. So we need to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward when it comes to our branding. Today, I'm going to deep dive into the importance of brand visual identity, how you can create a strong one. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most obvious parts of your visual identity, and that is your logo. Your logo is basically the face of your brand. Your logo will be pretty much everywhere. It will be on your social media, on your website, on your signs for your business, on your mugs. It's going everywhere and it needs to represent your business. And we want people, when they see it for the first time, to make the best judgment about you. Now, I see people make this mistake a lot. Your logo isn't there to tell people just what you do. It's to show people how you do it. Let me give you a really basic example. Say you run a cafe, you could put generic coffee cup icon as your logo. And that would tell a passerby when they see the sign, oh look, they serve coffee. But it wouldn't tell you anything else about the brand. Is it fair trade coffee? Is it a nice relaxed environment? Is it a quick place where you grab something to go? You want to make sure that your brand shows more than just the basic thing that you do. So if you want to take your logo to the next level, you need it to include your brand personality. Now, this could be anything. Going back to the cafe example, you can include the things you sell, like coffee and food. You can add flourishes to them, like little plants, if you're, say, vegan or nature-based. I mean, there's so many different things you could do with a cafe logo that would represent loads of different things. A good brand designer will get into all of the nooks and crannies of your organization and work out exactly what that one visual representation should be for your brand. It's important that your logo is unique to you. Now, it's all very well using programs like Canva and stock image websites to build your logo for the first time. But when you do that, you never really know if your logo is truly unique to you, as everybody has access to those graphics. Ideally, you want to create a completely unique logo that only you can have. And also, later down the line, you might be able to trademark your logo as you know no one else is using it. Next up is colours. Colours are great because they can convey so much without words. Different colours are interpreted different ways on a subconscious level based on your experiences, your feelings, your likes and dislikes, and your culture. And choosing a good colour palette is really key to invoking different feelings within your audience. For example, the colour blue, which I am a little bit partial to, is one of the most used colours in brands, I would say. Blue can mean lots of different things, but in general, it's used to mean trustworthiness, loyalty, and it can be seen as a calming colour. You'll notice a lot of healthcare brands use the colour blue. It's seen as a safe colour. On the other side of things, if you look at oranges and yellows, they are much warmer colours. They are vibrant, they are seen as sunny, confident, lively, and they feel like they have a lot more energy to them. Red kind of has two sides of it. Some people can see it as bold and dangerous and in your face, whereas others kind of associate it with romance and luxury. Green is the colour that reminds us of nature. So again, it can be seen as a calming colour, it feels natural, it represents growth, and you'll see a lot of eco brands use green as shorthand for meaning that they are sustainable. Now, I could go on forever about all of the different colours and what they could all mean, but ultimately you need to make a judgment based on your brand's personality and the setting in which the colour is going in. Now, you don't want to pick too many colours in your branding as it can be hard to get consistency. Most companies tend to go for one core colour. Can you guess mine? And then 2 to 3 sub-colours and maybe shades of those colours to complement them and to make things stand out in their communications. Ultimately, it's up to you. You just got to make sure that they're carefully considered and carefully applied. Next up is typography or fonts. Typography plays a huge role in making your brand look professional. There are so many different fonts out there, some better than others. And like colours, they all have different feelings that they evoke. Now, there are loads of different types of typefaces, but I'm just going to tell you about the most common. So the first one is serif. You'll know what a serif font is because they have these little strokes at the top, the bottoms, and the ends of the letters. These kind of fonts are seen as traditional, reliable, readable, and they are commonly used in newspapers and in books. Some styles of serif fonts can look quite old-fashioned, whereas there are some modern ones that look sleek and luxury. Then we've got sans serif fonts. They're basically fonts without those little strokes on the ends of letters. This is a more modern type of font and can be seen as more clean, more straightforward, and they're also really readable. You'll notice that a lot of brands use sans serif fonts for their text. Moving on, we then go into more stylized fonts. So script fonts mimic calligraphy or handwriting. There's loads of different styles, but they can be seen as personal, elegant, delicate, and you'll often see these used in the wedding industry, as they can also be seen as quite romantic. Watch out though, there's so many different types of script and handwriting fonts, and it's very difficult to get that balance between it being readable and it being beautiful. So just make sure that you're using them sparingly. Then we've got monospace fonts, which basically means that every letter takes up the same amount of space. This is pretty much a typewriter's font, and it can be used to show simplicity, functionality. These can be fun to use when you're trying to have a retro feel. Next, we have decorative fonts. So this covers a wide range of typefaces and basically means the super stylized font to a certain theme. So, for example, it could be a horror font that you would have seen in old horror movies. It could be a 80s style font. It could be something that looks like it's been spray painted on. There's loads of different types of decorative fonts that can really evoke a really strong emotion with the audience. These fonts can be really great for creating memorable designs, but again, like the script fonts, just watch out for readability. Next up is graphic elements. So graphic elements include things like shapes, icons, illustrations, design flourishes, all of the things that kind of go around the words and colours that we're using in our designs. You want to make sure that you're adding these design flourishes into your designs to give your brand more personality and evoke more feelings with the audience. There are so many different things that you can do with graphic elements. And when you work with a good brand designer, they will help you to develop these graphic elements and show you the way to use them to evoke emotions with your audience. It's important that we use graphic elements to make our designs more visually appealing. We just want to make sure that there's some kind of meaning behind them, and we're not just throwing lots of different icons and illustrations on a page to fill up space. Last but not least, we have photography and video. Whether you're investing in your own photography and video or using stock video, it's important to create yourself some kind of style guidelines so you know what they should look like. It's important that these match your brand style. We want these visuals to relate to our audience. We want our audience to be able to see themselves in your photos and videos and see themselves interacting with your service, buying your products, whatever it is. We need to make sure that these follow the same kind of style and evoke the same emotions as the rest of our brand. Once you've developed all this with a brand designer, we then want to tie it all into a lovely brand guidelines document. This will outline all the elements of your brand visual identity and how to use them, and kind of acts as a guide for every single piece of marketing material that you put out. These guidelines kind of act like a toolkit so that anyone who works in your business knows exactly what you're trying to get across with your brand and how to use those brand elements. So why does this all matter? Well, a strong brand visual identity can help you attract more clients and stand out from the crowd. It gives yourself an edge over your competitors. It makes you more memorable to your potential audience, and ultimately it will bring you in more sales. If you want to work with a business that values authentic branding, then get in touch with me, Emily, from Two Shoes Creative. You can click the link below to book a free discovery call with me, and we will see how we can help your brand grow. Thank you for listening to this episode of On Purpose, the podcast dedicated to breaking down the fundamentals of building purpose-led brands. If you love the show, please do leave a review, and why not send it to someone who'll love it too.